Here it is. It's the white whale. I've actually
is.
called this car the narwhale for quite some time because it used to have this weird bump on the hood that made it look to me like a narwhale. This is the revised Infiniti QX80, which means it has slightly less of the weird forehead, but it's still the narwhale. And this one, white like this and as big as it is, I've just called it the white whale all week.
It is the white whale. It is the QX80. We see them around a lot, as a matter of fact. People are buying these.
Yes, for sure.
You're watching Everyday Driver. We make a TV show, podcast,
and YouTube channels dedicated to great cars, driving adventures, and helping you find a car you'll love.
subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.
There's things you need to know.
Yes.
The power, for instance. The weight is another big, large issue. This thing is almost 6,000 pounds.
That's heavy. It's quite heavy.
It's been a long time since I've been in a 6,000 pound car.
Yes, it's actually even heavier than my Volkswagen Phaeton, and that is an accomplishment.
My
that is
Expedition
really quite impressive.
is 55-ish.
Really? Your Expedition is lighter than this?
The Expedition is lighter than this.
That's staggering.
It also hauls 7 or 8 people and tows more than the Infiniti.
What does the Expedition tow?
It'll tow 9,200.
Okay, this will do 8,500, which is good, excellent.
It is. Okay, so the
all
benefits to this car are the power.
Mm-hmm.
It moves like it shouldn't.
Oh, I
400
agree with
horsepower
that.
doesn't sound like a lot, and it moves. Suddenly you're
Yes.
moving at freeway speeds, and it doesn't feel like it was an effort to get there.
We're on a windy section of Interstate 80 in Park City, and I want to say two things about that. First off, we're putting it on the interstate on purpose because we have discovered that is where this vehicle is at its best.
It shines.
Is
Yes.
doing a road trip. We actually did a road trip in it for another shoot, and it was a phenomenal road trip vehicle. We were all of us had time in it. We were all surprised at how fast it is on the freeway, at the fact that it will do rev-matched quick downshifts, at the fact that while it has, let's be honest, it cannot hide its weight and does not hide its weight, and these corners make it clear, it isn't wallowy at all.
Okay.
It is very composed for something that is 6,000 pounds with a massively high ride height.
Okay.
And so every time we drove it in those ways, we were quite surprised by it because it kept handling and driving as a road trip, just mile chewing hauler, better than we expected.
It is good at that, and it is the car that you want to fill with people in gear.
Yes. Then
for a road
we
trip.
kept discovering things and going, really? For $76,000? Really?
Okay, so you mentioned tautness.
Yes.
I'm not all there. I'm not sold. And that is because we're in the Edition 30. Mm-hmm. It's a Luxe Edition plus even better. We've been in business 30 years. Mm-hmm. Infiniti has. There's an addition to this that this particular model doesn't have. It's the Proactive package, but it includes something called hydraulic body motion control.
Okay.
It's hydraulic cylinders. It is what you think it is. Hydraulic cylinders that pump hydraulic fluid to keep the car level in turns. And when the car feels like it's rolling over, it kind of keeps the car more stable. This is $76,000, and it doesn't have the Proactive package.
It's true.
If you're in a 6,000 pound vehicle and it doesn't have this body control system, it shouldn't be an extra. It should be standard. That should be across the board. We build a 6,000 pound vehicle, and it needs that package from the start.
I agree that it needs that package,
option.
but it needs that package like Mercedes package that leans into corners, and that's also an extra. I mean, let's be honest. We're in the world of box checking here.
Fair enough.
That is. Let's be honest. That is a check the box, make more money decision. Not on Infiniti's part, not all manufacturers' part.
You're right.
Than it is a let's make the best version. I still think this is. You and I drive this faster than most will. I am taking this into corners faster than most will. So while yes, you want to hang on to the handle, you definitely do. While I have taken a few corners that I kind of went, that was a little scary. I've been a huge truck that I don't expect to do corners like that. I have to give it a little bit of props in its driving dynamics, even though I do agree with your point. If that technology exists and you're buying a big luxury barge like this, that technology should be part of it. But that's not the way these cars are sold.
I do think that could be a differentiator for Infiniti, though.
If
everybody else is doing it and it is an option, and Infiniti offers it, wouldn't that bring in customers? Wouldn't that Infiniti's got it right out of the gate, right off the showroom floor. Because I do like how it rides on the freeway. It is just It's supremely comfortable, despite having 22-inch wheels and tires. Aren't we past the 20? Aren't we past the dubs? Isn't that like a couple decades old now? And
22s.
We don't need to make it ride higher and have a taller visual center of gravity than it actually needs to. Why?
And this, while more attractive than the more narwhal version, still just gives this presence of big and bulbous, which is a bit concerning. But honestly, my biggest concern here, and this is not something I normally talk about, it's normally your area, but I have to talk about it anyway, and that is tactility and materials.
Okay.
And that's not something that I normally gravitate toward, but at $76,000 family hauler, these are things that are paramount.
Yes.
This has a kind of fake wood grain in a lot of places, and then it goes to piano black here, which feels like a weird mix to me.
Okay.
I mean, that's okay. Whoa. Whatever. That was fun.
Okay.
Feels like a weird mix to me. I was one-handed through there too.
Yeah, you were.
It was like riding a bull. Anyway, no, but so that's a weird mix. But my bigger concerns are two things you're going to actually use and be shocked by how cheap they feel.
Okay.
One is the doors, which you first brought up, and now I can't get past it. And I'm not a guy that cares about doors, but the doors on this feel like an economy car. And the other one, sorry, I have to go here. The biggest culprit is right here. This knob that changes you from auto to Ford high to Ford low. I'm not claiming you're going to use it all the time, but it's right around here with tow mode and snow. I mean, these are things you're probably going to touch, just not regularly. I'm not overstating when I say this. This is one of the flimsiest knobs I have used on any car at any price. You're going to use it at some point. It feels like, the plastic that's just a level beyond foil. It's like that chromey thing that is, it's actually wobbly. That's what this knob's made of.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be any knobs in something this expensive that you're ever going to touch that have that loose feel.
It is about the details. Speaking of details, let me introduce you to the Key that is the same as the Nissan Versa, the GTR, the Maxima, the Altima, the Rogue, everything Nissan builds.
For the last
all
decade.
of the Infinitis, it's the same shape, it's the same key. Nothing special here.
They bought them in bulk.
I want it to be special.
They bought them in bulk. They're still going through them. They got a big tub in the back.
That's your first interaction with the car.
True.
It needs to surprise and delight you. And why do the German manufacturers pay so much attention and invest so much money in the fob alone?
Aston Martin had a crystal fob for a while. Don't do that.
Don't do that. The motion control unit on that, by the way.
The emotion control unit.
Yeah, it controlled your emotions. But to your point about the doors, it's like a concert hall of cheapness. When the door closes, that sounds fine. But the door handle echoes throughout the entire large cavity of the door.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of attention paid to comfort. You like the leather, you like the stitching, you think, oh, this is luxurious. What is luxury? Space and time.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of space in here. It's huge. But I agree with you, the materials are interesting, but there's a few parts where it lets you down. And for $76,000, everything should be paid attention to.
That's the problem. If this were 45, 48.
I'll give you 60.
Really? Okay.
I'll give you 60.
But I think about the fact that at 48, 40, 49, 50 grand, we're competing with things like the Highlander and the Palisade and the Kia Telluride, the Acadia, those kind of things. That level of vehicle, I expect to come across a couple buttons where I'm like, that's not that nice.
Sure.
But we're the step above that.
We are, in terms of power and towing capability.
And,
so luxury
and just
towing.
price point of what you're shopping for. If you're shopping for one of these, you're bringing 65 to 70 grand to have a conversation. You're shopping for one of those, you're bringing 35 to 40 and suddenly realizing, oh, the way I like it is 48. This is the level above. And so finding those random pieces, that's a real strike against this. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. It is quiet. The Infiniti is quiet. I would like more sound deadening in the doors so the door handle doesn't sound quite so cheap.
It doesn't sound like a tin can. I'm sorry, but really, it sounds like a hollow can.
But as far as just enjoying the space and you can hear people talk, it's very quiet. The engine is very quiet, even though it's got a lot of power, and it does get growly when you get into it. But for the most part, the silence is great, and it's welcome in a car like this. So there are the things that we're noticing that were very unexpected. The power that makes this heavy thing move so quickly.
Yes.
The transmission that shifts so well.
Watch, downshifts.
And the quiet.
Instant downshifts.
It really is.
On a 7-speed automatic, it's not a CVT. Nissan does CVTs. This is not a CVT in here.
It's not
instant
waiting.
Downshifts.
Yeah.
It kind of drags the upshift a little in the kind of luxury feel, but if you say, I want to go down a gear, it goes, all right, I'm there, I'm down. It matches it perfectly. And I mean, on this of all things, it's like, what is that doing here? And yet that is superb.
Yep. I do like that. So you got to decide what you want out of your giant SUV. It isn't going to be fuel mileage. It isn't. It's going to be towing and power.
About 14 miles to the gallon in this.
But you've got to bring a road trip mindset. You've got to bring, I just want to float. We're just taking gear and people and we're towing the boat and it's going to be no problems. That's why you buy this.
And nobody touch this knob right here.
Yeah,
Everybody stay away from this knob. You'll be much happier.
On the other hand, this is an Armada.
This is true.
This is really just a rebadged Armada.
It is, yes.
Which brings us to the second part of the discussion. I do need to drive this, by the way.
Yes, you're gonna drive it right now. In fact, why don't I stop it and you're gonna hop in and then you can talk about, we'll talk about where Infiniti is and more importantly, where we think they could go.
This is gonna be interesting.
Also, this car has a beeping problem. Now
there it is. The key's in it. I'm in it. The engine's running.
The engine's running. The doors are closed.
The warning
needed to beep.
Check rear seat for articles.
We've reached that place in Let's Buy Modern Cars, where and there's regulations and stuff because enough people left. Small humans they were in charge of in the back seats of their cars and walked away and didn't know. We now have regulations and manufacturers are trying to solve that where if you have opened a rear door, the car is terrified you've left a human body behind. And so this car's response to that is these beeps and chirps. It's almost more porpoise than narwhal. It just has to talk all the time.
Okay, I never really saw it like that, but okay.
I'm trying to connect the aquatic theme to the revised white whale. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, well, speaking of people in the rear, there is a lot of space in the back seats.
Yes.
This car is wide. You can see it. You can see the pillars of leather here. You can see how wide the instrument panel is. And there's lots of clean shapes that will look good for a while. It's not overly done, and I do like that all the exterior has been really reined in, even though it's still big and you're having to cover a large car with a lot of sheet metal.
Yes.
Can we not paint it white, though? Because it's, A, the cheapest paint out there, but it makes something look even bigger. This is what designers look at. It's a body in white. You look at it to evaluate the surface, and then let's paint it. The future doesn't have to be white. So that brings me to the future. You feel like you're, body rolling there. Yeah. Every little input gives you a little bit.
It catches itself, but this is a big car.
It rolls and then catches itself.
It's a big car, yeah.
All right, so the future. First of all, I want you to consider Infiniti is the technology partner for the Renault F1 team. Now, it is due in part to the Renault-Nissan partnership.
Yeah.
All the elements of the future for Infiniti are already in place. They're a tech partner.
Okay.
Look at their logo. It's Infiniti. We want to look towards the future. The two cars that interest me most from Infiniti are concepts. The Prototype 9 and the Prototype 10. Look at these exquisite and beautiful single-seat driver's cars.
Yeah, they're great looking. They're huge, but they're great looking.
They're the antithesis of the product offering right now. You remember how it started out? Infiniti showed us a leaf floating in a stream. They showed us a door handle.
Their whole ad campaign was no car. Lexus went, we built a car. Infiniti went, we went outdoors for a while.
They could do that again and wipe everything off of your product portfolio, Infiniti. Take it all away. You don't have to accept the dirty diaper that Nissan is giving you. You don't have to take those cars and build your own version of them. You can do your own thing. The headquarters are in Hong Kong, which tells me the company is managed independently of Nissan's Japan headquarters.
Interesting point.
So you could start out with one car, wipe everything away, and you show us these gorgeous single-seat driver's cars, which are exquisite and beautiful, and I cannot want them more. Tempt us, bring us back in. And I love that you are the technology partner, Infiniti. I love that you're known for drive-by-wire. You're known for drive-by anything. It needs to be continually refined and sorted. But when people think Infiniti, and that's the reason sometimes we either recommend or don't recommend the Infinitis. It's drive-by-wire. You might not get the feedback that you're wanting.
Some people don't like that. It is embracing, let's try to make a next technological step, but it isn't something that everyone enjoys. And that does get discussed a lot on the podcast.
Yes.
Because there are people that like the Red 400 edition of the Q50. A lot of people really like that. 400 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, interesting car from Infiniti. But then there are those we know that have not wanted it because of the electric steering. So it's one of these, but yet it's very cool, and they're pushing for the future, and every aircraft you've ever been on as a passenger is fly-by-wire.
Yes.
So I see it, but we got to find a way to connect those well.
I see the tech, I see what you talk about on your website, Infiniti, electrification. You've given us these prototypes. You're the Formula One partner for tech. All these elements are pointing you in a direction that you could easily change yourselves and come from, oh yeah, Infiniti, and it turns out to be an 8 in every category, or a 7. But then you give us one special car that brings everybody back as enthusiasts. So I come to you with a pep talk, Infiniti. If you are from Infiniti, you are watching, please contact us. We'd love to offer our suggestions, or don't.
Don't leave our number. I don't want that call, but yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? I'm also asking you watching, what do you think of this idea? Could Infiniti completely reinvent themselves instead of making a car that feels a little bit like they're chasing, rather than being an industry standard or a leader doing their own thing?
Sure, okay.
That's what I could see out of Infiniti. And so when I drive this, there's things I like about it, there's things that I don't. But that's what I see out of Infiniti. I see you've got such potential. You're overcoming weight and physics with tech, with the hydraulic body motion control.
Yeah.
Does it need to be 6,000 pounds? Well, it is, because of all the luxury and all the safety
This is the problem with cars in general right now. We've got to put so much stuff in it. It's gotten big and heavy, and that's everybody. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to attack corners in this. I don't.
It's not its purpose.
I just want to back off. Your passengers are going to be happy. But again, it does power, the shifting, the engagement here, the space, the quiet, all those things are very luxurious. They're very appealing. But beyond that, I think it could happen. If you want to add your comments, maybe that could be your direct voice to Infiniti and say, bring it.
Bring up an interesting point in the fact that Infiniti, and they've struggled with this way since those original commercials, they have struggled with being an also-ran. It doesn't mean they haven't made some very solid cars through the years, because we've had cars on our podcast we've recommended from Infiniti since the podcast began.
Yeah.
But in almost every case, we're recommending. I love that you've got the grab handle while driving.
Okay.
That's frightening. But if you are going to be the niche luxury automaker of a mass automaker in Nissan, why not pick and choose? And you're making maybe less product overall, but the stuff you're making has a flavor that is your own.
Absolutely.
That would be interesting.
That's where I see Infiniti becoming. That's what the next steps could be.
This QX80 is fine in this segment. It's fine. I want it to be like, I got this for $76,000. I can't believe I got all this stuff. I can't believe how great this is. It can't achieve that. It does achieve being fine.
If you can name the top 3 things that you love about it, and that's the reason you bought it, wonderful. But what are those top 3 things? Well, I guess a lot of space, but there's a lot of cars with space. Power, it's powerful, but a lot of cars have a lot of power. It can tow a lot. Yeah, so can a lot of other trucks.
I've got 2. It does have a really good gearbox, and it does have a very nice road trip freeway ride.
It does.
Those things it does very well.
Except I need to
You're very concerned
bolted down
about
here.
that.
I am
it's
concerned.
Just big.